Hello friends in anatomy and physiology class. This is Hassan Naveed at Madison College in Wisconsin. Welcome back to the anatomy sessions. We're going to talk this time about the intestinal wall. Actually, we're going to talk about the microscopic structure of the small intestine. The small intestine is formed of multiple layers. These layers work together in a harmony to digest food, to propel the food items down the small intestine to the large intestine. They also help in the absorption of the nutrients in the small intestine. The walls of the small intestine from inside are lined up with mucus layer. This mucus layer is also equipped with a specialized apparatuses or structures. These are the villi. The villi are responsible for absorption of nutrients. Let's take a look at this model and find out about the layers of the small intestine. Taking a look at this model, this is a model of the wall of the small intestine. It is showing multiple layers that we're going to figure out. This is a free edge or the luminal area. This is a lumen here, and this is an apical surface. These structures that look like the fingers are the villi. These villi are the absorptive structures in the small intestine. See, it is thrown into folds, and each one of these is equipped with structures. If we open it from inside, at the far right here, this is capillaries. It's the arterial capillaries. This is showing nerve plexus, and the one on the far left here is showing you the lacteal. In the middle, this green structure is known as the lacteal. Lacteal is responsible for fat absorption. And the left side, this is the venular capillary, and the right side, the red one, is the arterial capillary. Arterial capillaries are known as afferent, while venular are known as efferent. So this top layer here is the mucosa layer. So the mucosa layer is lined up with the villi, or is form of the villi, and the villi itself is lined up with epithelium. If we put it a little closer for you to look at, the villi are lined up with columnar epithelium, simple columnar epithelium. Here, this is another one, and that's the other line. It's a skirt-like structures, and these are columnar epithelium. In between, you're going to find goblet cells. These yellow dots represents the goblet cells. The goblet cells are mucus secreting cells that aid in the sliding of substances in food down the small intestine towards the large intestine. Putting it a little bit higher, up like that or up, and putting it back to the normal magnification, we will identify the other layers of the small intestine. So this is the mucosa layer. The next layer you see here, this is the Muscularis Mucosa. This layer is the Muscularis Mucosa. It's a thin muscular layer that helps in expansion and relaxation of the villi, and that gives more surface area for the villi and increase the absorptive area of the small intestine. So this is the Muscularis Mucosa. The layer beneath it is the submucosal layer. You notice also here, this is a lymphoid tissue or lymphoid follicles that we find mainly in the submucosa. Also, I wanted you to observe the distributing vessel. This is a large distributing vein, and this is the large distributing artery. You find them in the mucosa layer. Also, pay attention to the presence of myenteric plexus. This is the nerve supply that innervates the small intestine and helps in the generation of action potential for the smooth muscles to propel the food down to the large intestine. This movement of the small intestine is known as the peristalsis. Down below, the second layer is the muscular layer, and the muscular layer actually is divided into two layers. This is the longitudinal, this is a circular layer from inside, while the inner layer is the longitudinal layer. So again, looking at the muscular layer, these are smooth muscles, the circular layer, and the longitudinal layer. Also, notice the nerve fiber that runs along the muscular layer, smooth muscular layer, which helps innervate the small intestine. On the bottom, we're going to find the last layer, which is the serosa. And the serosa layer, as we said, is the last layer that helps the small intestine to attach to the surrounding, specifically the mesentery. You find this dense connective tissue or fibrous tissue, as well as the simple squamous epithelium and the serosa. So going back and just to summarize and show you the layers of the small intestine, we have the mucosa, Muscularis mucosa, submucosa, and the muscular layer, and on the bottom we have the serosa. This is a slide of the small intestinal wall under the microscope. What we're looking at here, we're looking at the lumen of the small intestine, this empty area. This is the mucosal layer. Look at the villi and the folds. If you follow the probe, these are the villi. So the entire area is the absorptive area, and this is the villi. Underneath it, if you pay attention here, we're going to find that thin line. This is your Muscularis mucosa. The layer next to it is the submucosal layer. We're going to move the microscope a little bit. I'm going to move the field so we can look at the rest of it. We're going to go to the side and look at the rest of the wall. So again, the lumen to keep track of, the mucosal layer with its villi, Muscularis mucosa, submucosa. This is the submucosa. This is the muscular layer. I'm going to put it in a high power in a second to show you the details of each one of these. Hopefully we'll be able to catch some of the details of the other layers. Taking a look at it again here, this is the mucosa with the villi. Now the features are a little more prominent. Look at the lining, epithelium. We're going to project it more in a little bit in a high power to show you the lining of the columnar epithelium, simple columnar epithelium. So this is the mucosal layer. You can see these white little patches. These are the goblet cells or the mucus secreting cells scattered all over in the walls of the villi. The second layer, as we said, the submucosa, but this is our line of Muscularis mucosa. I'm going to push the field a little bit to the right so to show you the rest of the layers. You follow with me. Again, this is the muscular layer. Look at the smooth muscles. A spindle-shaped smooth muscle layer. The outer layer is our serosa. So I'm going to have to project it a little bit more in a very high power to show you the details of the villi. This is a beautiful view showing you the lining of the villi. This is one villi. One of the villi are shown here. Look at the lining, epithelium. Look at the tall columnar epithelium. The nuclei are all at the same level, and that supports the evidence of the simple columnar epithelium. In between, note the goblet cells. This is another one. That's a goblet cell. That's another goblet cells, and they are scattered in the villus surface. Take a look at the smooth muscular layer. This is the smooth muscular layer. Look at the spindle-shaped cells, myocytes. See the large nucleus in the middle? This is one myocyte, another one, and another one, a lot of them. And these are the layers of the muscularis externa, or the muscular layer of the intestinal wall. If I moved it a little bit to the side, you might be able to see more of the other structures that I promised to show you. So here, look at that. So in between the submucosa here and the muscularis, or the external muscular layer, we will find our other structures. So muscular layer, the submucosal layer, and far on the right, we will see the epithelial layer, or the mucosal layer that is lined up with epithelium, as we indicated before. Thank you for watching the video.